Whether you have Japanese ancestry and you're looking to learn more about your Japanese ancestors, or you're just curious about the history of Koseki or Japanese family registries, this video is perfect for you. And there's no need to worry about whether you can speak or read any Japanese. In this video, I'll share some background information about what Koseki are so you can get an idea as to how the layout works and how and why they exist today. The information I'm sharing comes from what I've learned through supporting fellow Nikkei from around the world to connect with their ancestry. But I've also done some research to actually help my clients connect with their distant relatives who live in Japan today. Hi, if you don't already know me, my name is Sachi. I am a bicultural and bilingual Japanese teacher and translator. I work primarily with professionals and academics to help them level up their Japanese pronunciation and pitch accent, as well as business Japanese. I also translate in the fields of Koseki and disaster science. こんにちは、心コミュニケーションズのサチです。今回の動画では、戸籍の歴史や昔と現代の戸籍の違いなどを簡単に英語でご紹介します。I first began translating Koseki in 2017 or 2018, and although it has its challenges which are different from the challenges that arise from translating in other fields, I find it incredibly meaningful, especially for my clients. So I hope that you'll understand and get an idea as to why I feel this way by the end of this video. And on that note, let's jump right in. Let's first establish what Koseki is and who has one. A Koseki is a form of civil registration, which also functions as proof of Japanese nationality. Many countries register their citizens individually, but Japan registers them in family units in the form of a Koseki. All Japanese citizens are listed in a Koseki with the exception of the royal family. The royal family has a different type of record called the Register of the Imperial Lineage or Kotofu. Any non-Japanese citizen who marries a Japanese citizen will have their name listed on their spouse and any children's details, but they themselves will not have a separate entry in the Koseki unless they become Japanese citizens. Koseki detail life events including births, deaths, marriages, divorces, and adoptions. They also include a domicile, the address to which the Koseki is connected, which may or may not be the actual residence of any of the members on the Koseki, any geographic name changes, and laws that trigger changes in the Koseki. Koseki tend to be about 2 to 4 pages in length. Now that we know what a Koseki is, let's briefly talk about their history. Population registrations have been around since the 6th century in Japan, but it wasn't until 1872, right after the Meiji Restoration, that the family register law, or Koseki-ho, was established, and all Japanese citizens were required to have family names and given names to be registered on the Koseki. This law required local authorities to register their local populations in a unified way throughout the country. While the registers were local, as a collective, they were the registers of the national population. Since 1872, there have been a number of changes to the law that have triggered reformations in the Koseki. These are referred to kaisei, and Koseki from before thisschanges are called kaisei hara Koseki or kaisei gen Koseki. Both readings are used for this kanji. In total, 4 revisions took place before World War II, and 2 have taken place since, meaning that there are a total of 6 different types of kaisei hara Koseki or kaisei gen Koseki in existence today. Revisions prior to World War II were triggered in 1872 or Meiji Year 5, 1886 or Meiji Year 19, 1898 or Meiji Year 31, and 1915 or Taisho Year 4. The Koseki from 1948 onward are referred to as current Koseki or Genko Koseki, and the revisions of 1994 are commonly referred to as the computerized Koseki or Kompyuta kasareta Koseki. These computerized Koseki look quite different from the older handwritten Koseki, so let's take a look at the layout of each one and where you can find what information. The easiest way to tell the difference between the two is that the older Koseki are in landscape and handwritten, the computerized Koseki are in portrait and are, as the name suggests, computerized. Let's look at the older Koseki in a little bit more detail so that you can understand what information is listed and where you can find it. As I just mentioned, older Koseki are handwritten and oriented in landscape. You read them from right to left. The first piece of information you'll find is the domicile or the official address that the Koseki is tied to, and then you'll find the name of the head of the household. Sometimes after this, you'll find a section that includes details relating to the revisions triggered by changes in the law. The first person listed in the Koseki is the head of the household, who is often, but not always, a man. In the bottom section, you'll find their parents' names, birth order, given name, and date of birth. And above, you'll find all the entries relating to that person's life, including their birth, marriage, and death. After the head of the household, their parents may be listed, then the spouse, and then their children. If the siblings of the head of the household and their children are in the Koseki as well, they'll often be included in birth order. The name of each person is written in the bottom section, and the details of their life events are written above. These older Koseki include a lot more detail than the new digital ones, which means that the parents' names and previous domiciles may be listed for those who joined the family through marriage or adoption. Times of birth and death, the person who reported the birth or death, along with the address in which it took place, are sometimes included as well. Because these Koseki are handwritten and almost always include kanji that are no longer commonly used today, they can be a real challenge to read even for native speakers. The challenge of reading them can also in part come from having a big X on top of a person's entry. This X is a sign that the person has left the Koseki through divorce, death, or dissolving of a parent-child relationship, which can happen through a child marrying into another family or an adoption ending, for example. Because Japanese citizens must always be listed on a Koseki, any reason for leaving a Koseki that is not death means that that person has been added to a different Koseki. Newer digital Koseki are much easier to read and oriented in portrait. As with older Koseki, the domicile and the head of the household is listed at the top. After that, you may find a note about why the Koseki was redrawn, and below that is the first entry, the head of the household, who is often the husband or the father of the family. Just like with older Koseki, after the head of the household, you'll most likely find their spouse, then children listed in birth order. You'll usually find much fewer people listed in the newer Koseki compared with the older Koseki. The newer Koseki don't include as much information as the older ones, but the bullet point-like formatting makes information so much easier to find. As with previous versions, you'll find a note about authenticity at the bottom of the last page. There is so much more that I would love to share with you about Koseki, but let's leave that for another video. If you yourself are Nikkei or you know somebody who is and who wants to be able to access their Koseki, you'll need to know the city or district office where the Koseki of your ancestors are kept and show that you are a direct descendant to obtain any copies. As of February 2023, older Koseki cost 750 yen per copy, and present Koseki cost 450 yen per copy, and you won't be charged any tax. When I went to get my copies, I think it took about 30 minutes from when we first arrived and when we left with 12 copies. During that time, the staff came to confirm information with me a few different times to make sure everything was correct. If you want to learn more about Koseki between now and the next video we do on this topic, I've made a number of shorts, so please feel free to watch them. You'll find the link somewhere up here. You can also download my free PDF from the description down below. If you have any specific questions that you would like me to answer, please feel free to let me know in the comments, and if you enjoyed the video, please let me know by hitting the like button and subscribing for more videos on Japanese language learning and Koseki. 最後までご視聴いただきありがとうございました。Thanks so much for watching until the end, and I'll see you next time.